get started. Hopefully I can loosen up a little bit. I didn't know all this, They should have warned me about this. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Chuck Sharp. I'm a sergeant here at the Bethany Beach Police Department. A little bit about myself. I am not from this area. I'm actually from way north in Delaware, Wilmington. Grew up in what they call the armpit of Delaware, Claymont, Delaware, which they're not wrong, okay? They're not wrong, but got myself out of there, went to Wilmington, attended the University of Delaware. I've had several jobs. I'm probably one of the only people in the police department that actually have had a job outside of policing. I was a bartender at a huge restaurant and bar in Ocean City and in Wilmington. It was called the Big Kahuna. It was the largest nightclub at the time. From there, I went to a bank. It was known as MBNA America, which is now Bank of America. And I kind of spent time bartending and working there as well. So I was a forms review analyst at the bank, bartender at the bar, and I want to say it was sometime around 2005, Bank of America went ahead and took over MBNA Bank, and I was afraid I was going to lose my job. So policing was never a thing I ever thought of, but I was looking around, I was like, I just had a brand new baby, like, what could we do to work and have like a pretty safe career? Because it was so stressful going into work every day and thinking these guys are going to come take us out any day, because that's how corporate America is. They don't need a reason to get rid of you. If it's your time to go, they just take you out. So I ended up here, Bethany Beach, applied to a few places. This is the one I liked the most. So like I said, I do have 20 years. My completion of 20 years will be December 20th this year. So I've been here an awful long time, and I really, really love Bethany Beach. There's so much about it. It's just been so wonderful. I'm so thankful to be here. That being said, the businesses are the lifeblood of Bethany Beach, 100%. As a police officer, I've seen within the last couple of years of the COVID, we've had a lot more problems with our businesses, and it's been frustrating a lot of you guys out there. And that's very hurtful to me because of how much it means to me. So I was tasked with coming here today and talking about loss prevention, and unfortunately, I'm afraid they're going to be like, oh, you know what we should do now? Maybe you should be our specialist in this. So that might just happen. But what I want to get out of today is I'd really like to get out of, first of all, we'll go over a couple things, little tips, tricks, things to do with your stores, which you guys probably already all know. Some of the courtroom aspects, which you guys have to know about that, as far as if you have shoplifters, what to do, and where it'll lead you. But the most important thing I want to get out of it is I want to get a sense of what you guys are feeling and what you guys are looking for, seeing, and what the police department can do in Bethany Beach to help you. I'm sure you guys all have ideas. I'm sure everybody out there has some kind of idea that the police department could help with or do better. And our goal here is to serve you as best we can and do the best job we can. So that's what we're going to do today. So with that being said, let's start with loss prevention. I don't call it shoplifting. I call it loss prevention. And the reason why I call it loss prevention is there's essentially two sides of loss prevention. There's internal theft, there's external theft. Getting good employees, we'll start with internal theft. Getting good employees this day and age is not easy. Standards for all kinds of employment have gone down, even in the police world. When I started in this job, I applied to Delaware State Police, and there was about 3,000 applicants for 30 jobs. Now they're lucky to get 100. And that's Delaware State Police, who's, in my opinion, one of the finest agencies in the country, and they can only get 100 applicants. And of those 100 applicants, the first 40 are automatic throwouts. So I know some of you hire people that are your friends and you think you know, but when we put them in a situation where they're in charge of things, when they're in charge of merchandise, sometimes your friend or someone you think is really good can be tempted and pushed to the wrong side. Unfortunately, here at the police department, I've seen it over the years. I've seen it with people up front, I've seen it with officers, and unfortunately, our most recent thing, two of our most respected people were let go because they were put in a situation where there was money involved, and it looked easy to take, and they took it. So let's get started. I'm going to go over a few things first with the internal part of loss prevention. I don't want to keep you guys here long. And like I said, my goal is to get input from you so I can bring it back to my boss, maybe the town manager and the mayor sitting right here so he can hear it too. And maybe we can get some ideas that we could push a little bit of our time and energy to and make this a better place for everybody. All right? So I did make a little list for stuff. So as far as the internal loss generally comes, I like to get up and walk around, but I guess I can't today. But internal loss generally comes from our employees. I worked in the restaurant business. I worked as a bar owner, or not owner, as a bartender. So I saw a lot of internal theft there. It happens. It's easy to do. Internal theft is pretty easy to do. There's pouring too much into a glass. There's when you're doing inventory and the big boss isn't around, take some inventory. When you dealing with cash at a cash register, which was one of the worst things, it's not hard to take cash from a cash register and forget to ring something up. So internal loss, undercharging. First thing, you got a product. That product's what makes your business move. That product pays your bills at night. Bethany Beach is not cheap. Your employee can easily put your product on discount, correct? It's not something that's tough to do. They might take an amount of cash that wasn't the price of your whatever, your shirt, your ring, and they might say, oh, it's a buddy of mine, right? They might steal that, undercharge. Discount abuse. Basically the same line. Sometimes your employees have a lot of friends here. We get a lot of the local kids. They come in, they come out. Oh, look at that, this product is $80, but maybe we could take that for $50. Another thing that happens can be a big problem, order errors. I've seen this before, and it happens a lot. We've actually had some problems in town with it where a manager will over-order stuff. It doesn't get seen by over-order food, over-order liquor, over-order product. It doesn't get seen by the boss. It comes in, it goes out, no one's the wiser. A lot of ways they do it is in the trash. Does everybody check their trash? Does everybody have someone checking their trash at the end of the night, at the end of the week for stuff that's in there? Employees inside the agency, inside the store, will go ahead and they'll put stuff in the trash and they'll throw it away. They'll double bag it. What's in there? Maybe a t-shirt they wanted. Maybe food, maybe whatever they want to take. So there are things that we have to look out for. The best way that we can go ahead and try to remedy that is inventory. Taking inventory is so vital to your business. Well, and again, I don't run a business, I don't own a business, but knowing what you have is very important because, first of all, it enhances your customer's experience, correct? Maybe they don't, maybe you're selling this thing and it's gone great and you don't have it. If you're not taking good inventory, you don't have it in stock. But maybe it's not selling and maybe it's leaving your shelves and you're wondering, well, I have receipts for this, but I don't have a receipt for this. Where'd my inventory go? So inventory, super, super important. And when you're doing inventory, having eyes on inventory. Just one person doing inventory is great, right? Because you know, little stores here, we don't have a lot of employees. But if you only have one person doing the inventory, where are the checks and balances? So it's always a good idea to maybe have several eyes on your inventory, managers involved. And owners and managers should love their employees. That's one of the things that we find as far as loss prevention. The more your employee respects you, the more your employee likes you, the less likely they are to steal from you, right? You don't want to hurt your livelihood, and they won't want to hurt it either if you treat them right. One of the things in restaurants that I think really helped, especially with the stealing of food, was some of the owners allowed a meal a day. So you allowed a meal a day. And that meal a day, you were able to watch it, you were able to inventory it, and it helped as far as you're not going to have, you know, 3 guys having a burger eating contest in the back. So that's one of the things that really helped. Employee pairing. That goes along with having multiple eyes on things. You can get a really good employee, you can get a really bad employee. You can get 2 good employees, you can get 2 bad employees. But if you pair employees and you do it in a way where you can help with the checks and balances of things, say, you know that this employee comes in late, he's always a pain in the butt, or she's a pain in the butt, but you need the employee to work. And you have another employee you can put with them to kind of straighten them up, almost like a little manager, a second manager. That's the kind of things that help combat internal theft, internal wrongdoings. Hiring standards, that's been tough around the entire country. Like I said, even in the police world, our hiring standards have had to go down. We don't get the physically fit people that we once did. We get guys like me that are average C students that aren't rocket scientists. I'm not solving Schrodinger's equation in here. I am an average C student. I graduated from the University of Delaware. Do I feel like I deserve this job? Yes. But since I've been on, and 3,000 people have applied to one police job or 30 police jobs, now you're getting 100. I'm sure it's the same on the Parkway. Our J1s, we had problems getting them. The local kids, it doesn't seem they want to work anymore, and the ones that do want to work, it's hard to get them pushed through. I mean, we have a seasonal in here, and I hate to say this, but one of our seasonals is just having a hard time getting the work done that she should have had done 2 weeks ago. And hiring standards are lowering, which causes our managers and our owners to be at the shop longer, which causes frustration, and all that stuff leads to not good things, thefts, tardiness, just not a good customer experience. So as far as hiring standards go, check your references, okay? Do backgrounds on them as best you can. Look into the person, look into their family, stuff like that. But that'll save your business as far as the internal part of thefts and stuff like that. Training. This one's always up for a big discussion. Training as far as your employees, and training as far as external theft. So anytime we have something with shoplifting, anytime I go to something, one of the biggest questions they ask is, how do we know if people are shoplifting, or how can you spot a shoplifter? And that's a hard question to answer, because you can do statistics, and in Bethany Beach, our statistics kind of go like this. External shoplifting for us happens usually around 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Right? Am I wrong? Does everybody know? Does that sound right to everybody out here? 3 to 7 is when we get our highest volume of it. Who is it? It's usually a juvenile. We get some adults that shoplift in town. We get some adult theft in town, but generally, it's a juvenile. So you train your staff. What are we looking for when we train our staff? Are we looking for the 12 to 20-year-old kid coming in and we're watching them specifically? Is that how you watch for a shoplifter? Is that how you watch for someone that's going to steal? Or do you do it a different way? And the reality is you want to do it a different way. Years ago, we had this really awesome class. It was called Left of Bang. And what it was trying to predict something before it happened. And this would be a great training for anybody that was in retail, because you're trying to predict who's going to shoplift. You're going to try to get your eyes on this person. So the way that they taught us was, you're looking for something that's not normal. So when people come into your store, what are you looking for? It's mostly our commerce happens during the summer, correct? What do people wear in the summer? Shorts, short sleeve shirts, bathing suits. What if they come in sweatpants and a sweatshirt? Isn't that an easy way to hide something? Sweatpants and a sweatshirt? Why would you have sweatpants and a sweatshirt on when it's 90 degrees out? Bags, book bags. See a lot of that around town, usually the younger kids. Mostly in those bags and book bags, they'll probably have a bottle of Aquafina water that probably doesn't have water in it. It's probably vodka or something, but should you allow them in your store? Do you have to allow them in your store? Maybe, maybe not. Is it something you should look for? Yes. People come in with bags. Why do they have a bag? Some of them are shopping bags and they're just normal, but I mean, a lot of times someone will have a backpack on their bag, a backpack on, they'll have a friend with them, and that backpack all of a sudden becomes a shopping cart. Zip, boop, zip, bye. So that's some of the things we look for. Another thing we look for is out of the ordinary, not looking at you. Your customer service rep goes around the store, hey, can I help you with anything? Hey, can I help with anything? Never need help with anything. But they're on the, see, I have to stand up. They're on the rack, right? They're picking stuff up, putting it back. Are their eyes on the price of it, or are their eyes on the customer service rep? You know, because that's how people, when people are going to steal something, they have an idea of what they're going to steal, okay? They've already seen it. It's in their mind. They're not thinking about what they're stealing. They're thinking about how they're stealing it. So when they come in that store, okay, that guy's over there. Where do they go? And they're watching. They pick stuff up. They don't look at the tag because they're looking at you. They pick things up and they put it back down. And you know why? They're seeing what you do. Is your customer service around the store making contact with people? Hey, do you need anything? Oh, no, thank you. That's what they look for. So when people ask that question, we have little shops. We don't have a lot of smash and grab. We don't have a lot of like commercial retail theft. People aren't having checklists and coming into these little stores and stealing stuff like that. It's usually the 13 to 17-year-old that's watching you with a plan. So as far, I forget where I was, but when people ask me that question, that's what I try to tell them. Look for things that are out of the ordinary. You know, there should be a class on it. The owners of the store should be they should go online and they should watch some of these awesome YouTube videos, because you can actually teach your people. You'll get people that you've had for a long time, and you'll have brand new employees. And you can teach the brand new employees just as much as you could teach the seasoned veteran by just watching a YouTube video of just the little things to look for in people when they come into your store. So we'll get past that. So that's checks and balances, pairing system, cash procedures as far as internal theft. Cash is terrible because it's easy to steal. And we do get a lot of every once in a while, every summer, we'll get a counterfeit bills. Just happens. Somebody gives you a counterfeit 50, you're out 50 bucks. So you've already lost your merchandise and gave change, and now you have this $50 bill that's worth nothing. If you can limit cash in your store, if you can make, the more credit purchases you can make, the better off you're gonna be. Because cash is no good anymore. Everybody has an Apple Pay. Everybody has a credit card. Try to stay away from cash as much as possible. And cash at the end of a shift, those registers are hard to get straight. It's hard to get when you ring your register out at the end of the night and you see, I sold $1,500 worth of goods, that cash is, a lot of times it's hard to match up because people make mistakes. Bills stick together and you're just like, oh God, the register's short again, you know? If you can stay away from cash, stay away from cash. We talked about hiring standards, training's important, monitor garbage. Keep your employees straight. At the end of your shift, have your manager walk them out or check their bag. I know it sounds stupid, but it's one of those little things that people don't do that can help not only the employee, but the business. Employees, like I said, sometimes they get put in a position where they're not really thieves and they're not bad people, but they do dumb things because the situation presents itself. If as a owner of a business, you're like, okay, your bag good, you don't got anything in it, yeah, just something that's stupid, it might help you to not lose some small product and an employee.
Now, are we allowed to look at people's bags when they leave, employees?
They're your employees, so to say, yeah, can I check your bag? Yeah, you can check their bag. Yeah, this is your store.
This is being recorded, so if you could repeat the question.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I was asking if we're allowed to check people's personal baggage, like backpacks and purses and things like that, without any reason to, just.
It's a tough, if you have a good employee, the good employee's gonna be like, yeah, sure, I got nothing to hide. And don't allow them to take anything in that would be illegal anyway. So, yeah, they'll offer up, here's my bag, It's just something that you should be doing, Hey, you work for me, I don't want this in my store, and I don't want this going out of my store. So it shouldn't be a problem. It's not illegal to check someone's bag, especially if they allow it. Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna check your bag they're allowing it. As a police officer, it's a little different. I can't just go and look in somebody's bag. If kids are walking on the boardwalk, I can't. I'm violating their constitutional rights by me going up there and looking for something illegal in someone's bag. I can't look for the bottle of Aquafina water that has vodka in it. Just can't do it. So sometimes I'm gonna go like this, and the reason why is I can't see close, but I can see far. Permission levels. There's another thing as far as internal theft goes. Some people sell more expensive items. Not everything is a $5 ring or seashell or, whatever you guys are selling. Higher ticket items that should be maybe locked behind something, or there should be a manager with a higher permission level to be able to go retrieve it. That just helps with inventory, and it also helps for stuff not to be missing, because there's where you're losing some bigger deal things. So as far as internal theft, I hate to get on that one, but we get it every year. I think we had one up here for like $12,000, and we have the shoplifting, but it's never like that. The ones that end up big are the ones that become internal, and they're the ones that end up being felony. They're the ones that end up being really big cases for us, and they're the ones that you guys lose the most money on. External theft, we all know what that is, right? That's probably why we're here today, shoplifting. We went over what to look for, what to train our employees to look for. There's a lot of measures that can be made to help prevent shoplifting, but none more important than having cameras in your store. Cameras in your store are just a gold mine. And reason being, first of all, it's a deterrent. You have cameras in your store, you might want to put a sign somewhere in your store that says you have cameras in your store. It's a great deterrent, and I know as a business owner, you want people to come in and have this great experience in your store, because a great experience will help sell stuff, and I'm not ignorant to that. However, this day and age, I think your consumer is experienced enough where they know that cameras are in the store. So by having a sign that says I have a camera in the store, yeah, it stinks to go in a store with your little kid and be like, oh God, I gotta watch this kid nonstop because it might take away from like a parent or something that, totally holding on to their kid. It might take away from the experience of the store, but cameras are a gold mine. I got a call from Gypsy Teal, Jody, love her, she's a great person. She calls me up, my day off, personal cell phone. Hey Jody, what's up? Chuck, I had a shoplifting. Well, it wasn't a shoplifting. I was like, well, what happened? So she goes and tells me the story, and I'm sure you guys all know. There were a couple guys that went in, one distracted the other, a purse is missing. I'm like, well, what did you see on the camera footage, Jody? I don't have cameras. I was like, what? Now I understand, Bethany is expensive. Rents are expensive up there. Merchandise now with tariffs and everything, that all went up. I'm like, no, isn't this a write-off, Jody? Isn't it a business write-off to have cameras? What do you mean you don't have cameras? So, we get to giggling or whatever. Well, we have security footage from Ocean City of two guys doing the exact same theft that happened in Gypsy Teal. Security footage in Ocean View, same deal. It was in a parking lot, so we didn't get good security footage. We had two black males. They were in a Toyota Camry. It had a temporary plate, came back to Wilmington. All right. So Jody calls me back. I think they're in town. I think these two guys are in town. I think her associate, Susan, you guys might know better than me, but Susan saw two guys in town, and she's pretty sure that these are them. I'm like, okay, give me a second. Do you know where they are? Yeah, they're over here. Call up the guys. Hey, guys, can you go do this for me? They go over there and make contact with the people. Talk to them. It's not them, Chuck. Call me back. I'm like, Jody, it's not them. But Susan thought it was them. Jody, it's not them. If she had cameras in her store, guess what? There's probably a still picture of these two kids. She could give us the still picture. We could look at it, boom, boom, click, click. They're ours. Probably get the purse back that got stolen and all the IDs and everything else that she lost. But cameras are super important. I'm gonna get to the court procedures here shortly, but they help with that more. They'll help you more than they'll help us. The cameras will, and I'll tell you why when we get there. Anti-theft signs that say you're willing to prosecute. Again, the customer experience may go down, but the customers these days, they kind of expect it, right? Organizational procedures. So when you got a store, what are you paying for? You're paying for square footage. In Bethany, you're probably paying for square inchage, right? It's expensive to rent. So you want to get all your stuff, all your merchandise out on the floor, not in the storage room where people can't see it, right? Well, it's important when you're going around your store to organize your store so there's not blind spots. The more blind spots, if I'm over here and you can't see me, it's easier to steal, right? If it's easier to steal, you're going to get more theft. If it's not easier to steal, you probably won't get to theft. Good lighting, mirrors in your store, cameras. All that stuff, the way you organize your store, putting stuff out front, it's easy to pick up, easy to walk off. But I get it. We're a 3-month, 4-month a year, and we're trying to sell everything we got. But the setup of your store definitely helps you as far as preventing deterring shoplifting. And you can get all this stuff online. It's nothing secretive. Monitor trends. That's another great thing that cameras are for. They can see when things are missing. When you're finding shoplifters, when you're training your people, when you start to see a trend, let them know where it is. Hey, they're stealing bathing suit tops from right over there because they like that bathing suit, that nice body glove or whatever they are. Jolene top is right over there. That seems to be the hot ticket right now. Everybody's looking at it, and that's the one that's going off the shelf. So monitor your trends. Greet your customers. Let them know you're there. You know, especially with your associates. If they're walking around, hey, do you need anything? Just training your associate to make contact with the customer and sell things like they're supposed to be. I know it's not like it used to be where you get, people that you're getting guys that are taking up space and ringing the register, but, hey, get out there and let them know you're there. Let them know you're watching what they're doing and you're helping them, because that actually improves the customer experience, How much is this? You're right there, Do you have any more of this? You're right there. So that's something you might want to talk to your employees about. Keep workspace clear, uncluttered, registers near the door, so you can, again, retail space is very small here, trying to fit it all in, but the less clutter, the easier it is for you to, keep notice of things. Keeping the register by the door means that everybody has to walk past you. If they have to walk past you, it's harder to steal things. Limit access to expensive things. There's all kinds of awesome things out there now. You have to pay for them, but there's all kinds of tags you can put on expensive things. And there's a lot of actually, if you go on like loss prevention, you'll find a lot of things that are out there that are free that you can get information on. And there's like magazines that are free and articles that are free, and they'll put you on all these lists. So it's the same thing with sensor tags and all that. So I hate to try to bore you guys with that part of it because I don't know much of it. I'm not a loss prevention expert. I'm a police officer who arrests the people that shoplift, and we're going to arrest every person that you want us to arrest. And you're never going to have a problem with that in Bethany Beach, because if you do have a problem, all you have to do is ask a sergeant, talk to a sergeant and say, I wanted this person arrested. They're going to be arrested. No problem. Anything you want. We work for you guys. That's how this works. So I want you to feel comfortable around every police officer here. Anytime you call 381-5833, you should have a police officer within 3 minutes. No longer. We're a small town, and we will be there. Go online, do YouTube videos, just look online for stuff like that. That's what I would do. As I don't own shops. Like I said, I'm a police officer, bartender, bank guy. So go online, look that stuff up. As far as court goes, here's the part where you guys come in. You guys arrested a shoplifter in July. Guess when court comes up? Like December, January. Court is my least favorite thing as a police officer. There's basically 4 kinds of courts. You got Alderman's Court 31, that's us here in Bethany. We used to handle little stuff like shoplifting, we don't do it anymore. That's basically parking tickets and maybe some businessy stuff around town or a code violation. So you guys won't be there. Next court, JP, Justice of the Peace Court. We generally use Justice of the Peace Court 2 or 3. 2 is in Lewis. It's quite a ways away. It's almost like you're going up north. And JP3 is over there by the troop in Georgetown. JP Court goes like this. If you have to go to JP Court, it's going to be a police officer, the defendant, and whoever they have. They might have an attorney, they might not. Generally, they don't. So generally, it's the police officer, the defendant. You guys might be called in as a witness. What happens in court is this. The judge comes in. He says his thing. The defendant sits on the left. You're always on the right. The police officer goes ahead and tells the story of what happened because you had a video camera, and it's real easy for us to see. Before we even go in, sometimes we show the defendant that video. Guess what happens? They plead guilty before we walk in. They pay their fine, they do their thing. Sometimes you'll be called as a witness. Doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes we don't even need you, especially if we have video camera. That's why I said the video camera will come later. If we have video, we most of the times don't need you because we can sit there and say, look, this is what happened, Judge, this is what I have. Judge will look on it, rule on it, we're done. Generally, the police officer wins in JP court because we're prepared and we know how to win it. The only time we don't win is when we don't have video. And video, even for a traffic stop nowadays, we have these, we're constantly under surveillance as police officers. It used to be when I first started in here, if you said somebody ran a stop sign, the judge believed you and they said guilty. Now, if you don't have your video, which we only keep for 90 days, which court usually ends up being 6 months away, the judge says, where's the video? You lose. So video cameras are important. The next court is the Court of Common Pleas, which is the one you guys probably get the most. You get a piece of paper about this big. It has all this formal stuff on there. It's your subpoena. And it'll say you're going to be put in prison or something if you don't go to your trial date. And you have to call the night before. And then it's always a big deal. And the funny thing about the Court of Common Pleas is 99% of the stuff that goes in the door at the Court of Common Pleas gets pled. You never have to show up anyway. It's called the Court of Common Pleas for a reason. They plead it. And the best thing about the Court of Common Pleas is it's not the officer. There's always someone like an attorney that's helping you through your case. So if you guys forget something or have a case, you can always call the police department with that paper you got and case number, and someone there will help you remember what you need to remember. But you go in there, and basically the attorneys talk to each other, say, okay, blah, 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 blah. Well, look at all this camera footage, boom. We don't even have to go. So that's Court of Common Pleas. It really helps for them guys with felonies. They plea everything. So if you have a shoplifter that stole, 1,500 is the magic number as far as a felony goes. If they stole $1,600 worth of stuff, yes, it's a felony. When you get in Court of Common Pleas, don't be surprised if it gets knocked down to a misdemeanor and they get a slap on the wrist, because the courts in the state of Delaware are overwhelmed and understaffed. It's just the way it is. So generally, you have this big, how police officers do it, or we load stuff up on them so we get to hear. Because if we don't load the stuff up on them, we don't get to hear, we get down here. So if we give them just, so police officers say we pull you over on the side of a road for some kind of traffic violation. DUI. We give you every single traffic violation we could possibly give you, because we have you a DUI, we drop you down to here. Because what's going to happen is they're going to please something out, and they're going to make some kind of agreement. It ends up here, and we don't want it to end up here with one thing. Same thing basically with shoplifting. We got you for $2,500 worth of merchandise. That's a felony. If you're 62 years old and you get stolen from, or it's $1,500 or more, there's your felony limit right there. Well, that never sticks for some reason. Your $2,500 gets pled to here, and that's where it ends up. Unless it's somebody that's, a repeat offender, which we just don't get here. So that's the Court of Common Pleas. And then Superior Court handles the big stuff, like the internal thefts, like the $12,000 stuff. That's a whole different ball of wax. But again, if you have a case, you talk to the officer. Even if you just call our secretary, she's fantastic. She'll have all the information you need, and she'll be able to help you through that. So she'll get you in touch with an officer that can remind you exactly what happened in your case, and we can get you through it. I don't want to bore anybody. There was something I was just gonna say and I totally forget it. But, so, off the court subject, onto the detention of a suspect. You guys get a shoplifter, what do? I'll tell you what you shouldn't do. How about that? What you shouldn't do is try to hold the suspect in your store. Now, the state of Delaware allows for reasonable detention. What does reasonable detention mean? I don't know. I have no idea what reasonable detention means, and I'm a police officer. Because reasonable detention to one judge is very different than reasonable detention to another judge. So, my advice to you, as far as that goes, is if they're gonna stay on their own, that's your reasonable detention. If not, get as much information about that suspect as you can. Whatever they're wearing, what they look like, the color of their hair, their shoes. If you can follow them and watch them get into a car, a license plate is fantastic. Because if you walk down this road in Bethany or any one of these roads, there is likely a camera on that road. And we have a new system coming to Bethany called the Flock system, which we can find a car, just a car with nothing, if we're lucky. Now, there could be a whole bunch of the same car and we won't get the right one, but we're starting to get into the technology where someone walks down the street with a red shirt on and blue pants, you can pop it into the Flock system and they'll pull up all the people with red shirts and blue pants. If somebody's driving a white SUV, we can pop it into our Flock system and it's gonna show us all the white SUVs. Now, we get a lot of white SUVs, so we might not be able to pick one. It might take us forever to find it. But we are very fortunate here because our town manager, the chief of police, and the council have agreed to spend the money. And we spent the money. Trust me, it's not cheap to do, but the town has a lot of resources for our officers. And we will find your shoplifter. I've handled one this year, and it was at Tropicana Treats. And I went in there and I talked to, it wasn't Christine, it was the other girl, the blonde. And she said, we had a shoplifter. I said, okay, do you have information? No, young girl, she might be on the beach. Well, it's only me, this is before the season starts. Great, she's on the beach. So run down to the beach, I'm looking for, a suspect with the description she gave. No luck. All of a sudden, we're in the group chat. So somebody in the group chat recognized the girls, one of their sons. So the group chat comes back, and it's possible, they had a name and possibly where she went to school. It was a young girl, because that's what we get, 13 to 17-year-old girls. I'm like, okay, great. Is it easy to find a girl with no license, because she's 13 to 17, and usually don't have a driver's license? No, but Bethany Beach has a lot of resources now. So what would have taken me only a half an hour to go process a shoplifter only took me 2 hours, because I was able to find this girl's mom in Selbyville, have her shipped back here, processed her, got her out the door. 2 hours, we're done. So we do have the technology for it, okay? Evidence. Evidence will keep you out of court. Evidence is great for you guys. Cameras, 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 cameras. The more evidence you have, the easier it is for us. You win a case, but you go to, here's what I'm gonna tell you. Court, you go to, the only way you're gonna be in the seat getting drilled in court is if you have an in-betweener. If you got a lot of evidence against this person, there's no going to court, it's getting pled. If you have no evidence, there's no going to court. But if you're in between, it's a I don't know, it's a maybe, that's when you get stuck on the stand. So it's not pleasant either. It's one of my least favorite things to do. One time I was on there for 2 days. 2 days on the stand getting drilled about a DUI. But that's the kind of thing you want. The more evidence you have, less likelihood you're gonna have to do anything. Okay, and it makes it easier for us. Detention of a suspect. So don't chase anybody down. It's dangerous for you. We had that. We've had somebody chase somebody down here. They ran all through they ran across the highway. They ran all through here, and the person ended up running away anyway. Some of our officers aren't as fast as others, like me. I'm 52 years old. I can't run like I used to, so I'm not gonna catch anybody. But don't make it unsafe for yourself. You don't wanna run into traffic, but we've had that. And like I said, if your detention is not reasonable, it opens you up for a civil litigation. That's no fun. Data. Report your shopliftings. I know that sometimes it's a pain in the butt, and somebody probably sold something little, and you're just like, you don't have nothing. But if you don't report it, we don't know it happened. And then I can't go back to the chief of police, or I can't go to the town manager and say, hey, we're having a big problem here, if you don't report it. And we get a lot of that. We get a lot of not reporting. I know we do, because I talked to Sandy over at Tide Pool Tools. Yeah, well, I was PO'd because they stole this, what's that game you play where you hit the ball, a big item. But when they steal the little stuff, you expect that. You expect it, yeah, but now we didn't know it happened. And now we don't know where to put our resources. You know, we work for you guys. And after, I'll discuss this in a minute, but after this, I'm gonna go, I got a few ideas. And after this little talk, and after I hear what you guys have to say, I wanna be able to go back to the chief and say, this is what I learned today. This is what I think we should start doing. You know, and maybe we can get some things moving. So report anything you can. And the law, does everybody know the law? Shoplifting is Title 11, Section 841. If you remove good from the store, shoplifting. If you conceal goods while you're in the store, that's shoplifting. If you remove a tag, shoplifting. If you alter the tag in any way, if you try to change the price, something like that, shoplifting. That's considered shoplifting. That's all I really have for that. Just don't forget 1562 or the felony. There are felony thresholds. Now this is the part that I really wanted to get to, and really why I'm here, is I would like some input from our community. I would like to know what you guys see out there. I would like to know what you guys want from the police department so we could help you guys. So does anyone have anything that they think is important for us to know? Do you guys have anything out there that you would like us to do? Give you an example. This year we were really fortunate to have a few extra officers as far as summer help. You see a lot of them on the bikes, and they drive around town all over the place, but our business area is right here. Basically these 3 streets. And I made it a point this year when they told me I had to do this talk, to tell the deputy chief that, hey, when they have this training this year, this is what I'd like to see. Because those yellow shirts are our deterrent. The more we have them walking up and down the streets, the better. So do you guys see them in the stores? Do you see them walking around more? Because that's one of the things that I wanted to point out, and I'm hoping it hit home. And as a sergeant, if it's not happening, I want to make it happen. So is there anything else?
No, we just had a seasonal stop in last night.
Excuse me,
Oh, sorry.
this is being recorded.
Sure. We just had one of the seasonal officers stop in the store last night. It was fantastic because going in and out, they show their presence. I think it's one of those things that people who are visiting need to see. They makes the visitors feel more comfortable also. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying to do a little bit better this year. Like, with the whole COVID thing, we really had a tough time getting seasonal officers. I mean, we're really picking from the bottom of the barrel, and just getting enough to staff has been really difficult. But this year we've been really lucky that, we don't have the problems that we've had with the policing. It's been a problem through the entire country, but people just don't want to do this job anymore. They don't like it. They don't want to be, under pressure of being a police officer. And you're always on camera. It's a tough life. It's not easy. These guys work 12 hours, and they've always got one of these on, and you have to be straight-laced all the time, and there's a lot to remember. So, but we got lucky this year, and that's one of the things I told the deputy chief, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because I like to know that we're covering that area. Anybody have anything else?
I'm sorry. I had a shoplifter just last week, and it was an adult, a realtor from Baltimore, a Baltimore area. Anyway, the officers were amazing. I've never had a shoplifting case or situation go so textbook. And my question is, how do we know so the person also bought something and also signed up for our loyalty program with their name, email, and phone number. So I had a little bit more time to really review the camera footage and get it to you. And the officers were able to call the person and get the stuff back and then press charges. But how do I know if I'm going to get, how do I know what happens next? They took my license, but I don't get mail in downtown Bethany unless it goes to a P.O. box. So will that come to me, to my house? And then if I don't get a paper, how do I know what happened with the court?
Well, you should get a paper. So every report will have there'll be a section on there where it's the victim's rights. So you'll get a paper, and there's also a fund out there. It's like a victim's recovery fund. So you'll get information from the court, but if that does happen to you, ask the officer for your victim rights paper. It comes along with our reports and lease, and we can print them out. We don't give the report out. That's not for people to view. That's ours. Especially, there's two types of reports. I mean, you could get a crime report, but you end up having to pay for it. But you don't get the report, but you're always welcome to our victims' right reports, and it'll have information on there for all that stuff. So if you need that, and you can throw that through the shoplifting thread or the business thread, tell them to ask for their victims' rights report, and you can get that, and they'll have all that information of how you can get refunded and all your information back, like your items after court.
Is there anything we can do on the topic of COVID masks and everything like that? Because the majority of people who wear them are just being cautious, but then there also is sometimes people who wear them just to obstruct, wear hoods and everything like that. Is there anything we can do to announce it or anything?
That's tricky with those masks. It's tough. That's a tough situation there. It's not like we can tell them to take them off, and they can definitely have. That goes along with one of the things as far as you need to watch them more, when they come into the store. That's the same thing with the book bag and the heavy clothes. That mask hides your face. And if you watch just CNN or Fox News and you see all these rioters, guess what they all have on? Masks. Why? Because they don't want people to see their face. Why? Because they're breaking the law. So there's nothing we can, you can ask them to remove their mask, but you can't make them, It is what it is. But that's something where you want to be hyper vigilant and watch for. So they asked me to do this. Go ahead, you have another question?
My other question is, since I know there is a lot of juvenile shoplifting,
Yes, that's the biggest problem.
what actually can be done if you catch somebody, it's reported, does anything happen to the juvenile?
What happens? Okay, I'll kind of try to put this as quick as I can. When a juvenile gets arrested, this is one of the worst things for police too, especially our juveniles. And I'll just tell you a little story and why. And when a juvenile gets arrested, it can go one of two ways. We can either give them what's called a JCC, which is basically a slap on the wrist, or we could send them to court. It usually goes to family court. So JCC is what's called a juvenile justice civil citation. And what the Department of Justice in the state of Delaware was trying to do was trying to make it so that they didn't have this on the record when they got older. Because I think it helped more north of us than it does here. But they ended up, writing a paragraph why they shouldn't shoplift. And are they learning anything? Probably not. And the worst part is, and I'll tell you after I tell you this other part, the second part of it is we make an arrest and they go to family court. Family court's, pardon my French, a pain in the ass. because it takes forever. But it's nice. We've gone away from the juvenile citation because of this. I'm going to give you an example. The last shoplifting I had in the summer was last year. I haven't had to take one this year. I took a shoplift and I brought the young girl back, put her in the detention area we have. We don't handcuff juveniles, we just sit them there. The first thing we have to do is call their parents. That's what you do with a juvenile. You don't ask questions, you can't do any of that stuff. It's a lot of law that you gotta kind of avoid. Call their parents. It was about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what their parents say? Now, mind you, Bethany Beach gets busy and we generally have 2 police officers on duty. Two full-time police officers. Me being one that day. I'm out there, I'm behind, behind the walls back there with this young lady. I'm on the phone with Mom. Mom's at happy hour. You know what Mom says to me? Just hold her for a while. She needs to learn a lesson. Mom's at happy hour, right? How's that for the police officer? We're busy up here. We got a lot of stuff to handle with 2 police officers. We get traffic accidents that take, you get one traffic accident, that could be, an hour of your time. You arrest somebody for DUI, that could be 4 hours of your time. I'm trying to get this shoplifter out in half an hour because it's a shoplifter. But they're one of our biggest problems are the parents. So old Officer Sharp don't have that. Old Officer Sharp smiles when that happens. Because Mom called and she's like, I'm like, yeah, sure, well, what's today, Saturday? Because most of our shoplifting does occur, our statistics show that it occurs between 3 and 7, and it's usually changeover day. So make sure you let your employees know. Changeover day is when they take it, because that's when they think they can get it and get out. But changeover day is Saturday, right? Well, guess what? Courts don't, or jail doesn't like to let out until Monday or Tuesday, right? So that's the first thing I tell them, because where we take juveniles is Stevenson Center. It's a pretty good hike from here, so they're gonna have to drive a good hour just to get their kid. And then the second thing, which is my favorite, is when they have to come to court. So I make sure I let parents know that they're gonna be back in Sussex County, Delaware, in the middle of February at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday, because the parents these days aren't taking care, they're not taking care of what they should be taking care of. This is something they should be handling more than we should be handling. We do the paperwork part of it. Some of the parents just aren't doing their job as parents. If I caught my kid shoplifting, there ain't no police officer doing worse than what I'm doing to her. And we just don't get that with the parents these days. So JCC is kind of weak. It was 4 kids. I hate to say this, but my cousin, who super smart, she went to University of Delaware undergrad, Georgetown Law. She was one of the ones that developed this program up in Wilmington. Every time I see her, I poke fun at her for it. But it's weak to make them write a little essay or whatever, and that's how they take care of that, as long as it's not a repeat offender, which we don't get. We're a transient. But generally, family court, it's usually sometime all season. You're there all day, and the parent has to come with them. And I let the parent know that so that hopefully they'll get on their kid a little bit more about the shoplifting. Anything else out there? So I had a few ideas. I was going to throw them past the chief of police, maybe the town manager. Just want you guys' input, because this is going to be 9 to 10, and it's almost 10. One of the things that I thought might be helpful, and you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong, it might not happen, but I can suggest it. We might have an extra car out there, and not necessarily a police car, but we have a couple electric cars out there that I don't see moving too much. And I was gonna see if maybe the chief of police might do something like wrap it that says shoplifting unit with a big camera on it, and maybe put it around town some places. I thought that might be helpful. If you guys think that might work a little bit and don't mind seeing a car, maybe. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but because we're pretty restricted what we could do as far as cars. with our accreditation, but maybe that's something. Yeah, so that's something I was looking at. And if they do make me in charge of this, sometimes you have like, it's almost in line with training and something I'm gonna just run past them, but maybe we could have a police officer go in your stores and the police officer maybe, these are just ideas that I'm just spitballing, but maybe the police officer could be in normal clothes and, you know, maybe we can alert you guys and go in the store and be like snooping around like we're about to shoplift and, you know, maybe, I mean, that's another thing that I think, you know, maybe it'll help you guys a little bit to recognize. I mean, we'd bring a badge and everything so you don't arrest us, but I thought of that maybe. I mean, I saw that some places just to help with loss prevention, but is there things that we can do for you guys? We work for you. That's our job.
I would say I like the visibility. I think I have a few stores in town and a very young staff. And so I think the general, first of all, we do a lot of shoplifting training, but the idea is that, you know, everyone looks nice. What does a shoplifter look like you said? And so people really aren't on guard. And so and then I think the shoplifters that are out there, from what I understand from employees who know people who do shoplift, that they know there really aren't any consequences. So the biggest thing that's going to happen is they might get caught and have to give the stuff back, or they might get caught. And so just having the visibility, like you're talking about in these different situations, I think helps because it makes it seem, you know, more serious that something might happen to them. But I think a lot of what we're seeing, we do the inventory systems, we have the cameras, we do all of that. I am losing thousands of dollars according to my inventory every year as we do it. But a lot of it, I think, is, like you said, novice shoplifters that are taking it because they want it. It's none of this organized crime. But it happens so quickly, just like watching the cameras and trying to use that to train our employees, that I think it's great having a lot of the officers around. They've been in and out of all of our stores. It's awesome talking to the staff. I've had many conversations. And I think just things like that really do kind of elevate the situation. So thank you.
It's funny. Most things in society nowadays are statistically driven. The more you sell, the more this, the more that, more. And unfortunately, policing has become that way. More we arrest, the more traffic tickets we write, more. But the reality of it is that's not our job. Police officers came from the word peace officer. Our job is to keep the peace. And this is just dumb Sergeant Dum-Dum talking, but our job is to keep it from not happening. You know what I mean? And the reasons we read traffic tickets is to prevent traffic accidents. We don't have a lot of accidents. We don't have a lot of fatal accidents. We don't have a lot of injury accidents. That's why we write them. And as far as the shoplifting, we pay more people to not, it's like almost oxymoron, but we want to pay more people for it not to happen. I'm sure the merchants don't want shoplifting. They would rather not have to deal with it at all. And it stinks that these statistics are what drives the workforce. Like, they want to see all these statistics. Hey, we did this. No, we need more people. Some of the chiefs around we need more people because we have this. We have more people, so we don't have this. And that's how Bethany Beach is, and we're lucky this year. So we'll try to get them in there. We'll try to get them around. I'll be on all the sergeants. Hopefully they don't make me in charge of loss prevention, because this will be a lot different. This was kind of thrown at me, so it's a little bit, I'm not real sure, and but that's where we are, and I'll keep on the guys and keep on the yellow shirts and the visibility, and we'll try to keep everybody around. Does anybody have anything else? Is there anything I could do better for you guys? Is there any way we can get it around more for you guys? You need my personal cell phone number, and call me on my day off if you have something or a question. I mean, we're the town of Bethany Beach. We're the police department. We work for you, and we need you guys. You're our lifeblood. The businesses are our lifeblood. And that's what we expect to be able to help you as much as we can. Anybody have any ideas? Anything you want to see us do better? Anybody? I mean, that's really why I wanted you guys here. You guys can look at all this crap up online about whatever you guys want to, anything you want to see. It's all out there. There's videos about all that. What can we do for you? Are we not doing enough?
I just think police presence, like you were saying, following up, having one person designated just to go in and out of every shop on the strip every day would be a huge prevention.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree with you. And like I said, as a sergeant, we're coming up on the season. The kids are out of school now, and they're our shoplifters. So we got quite a few more people on foot. And yeah, I made mention to that. And after this whole thing's over, I'm going to go back to the bosses, and I'm going to be like, hey, this is what I learned today. Because really, that's why I wanted to have people here, is so I could learn and get our department better at it, rather than, you guys are better at being merchants than we are. Let's be realistic. You guys know what to do in a store, The whole point of this really is, what can we do to make it better for you? If you have anything, if you come up with any ideas, shoot them past us. Shoot them past me, Sergeant Sharp, Bethany Beach Police. I'm not afraid to go in their offices and be like, hey, I've been here 20 years. I mean, what are they going to do, fire me? Who knows? Early retirement, right? I'm not afraid to go in there and say, hey, this might be a good idea. They might shoot it down, but, if you don't see the guys, and call Sergeant Sharp. All right? Is there anything else we can do for you? I don't want to keep you here long. You guys got too much to do and time's too important.
I have an idea. Put Sergeant Sharp in charge of loss prevention in town.
Oh, that's a bad idea. He's trying to get
You
out
did a
of-
great job, thank
He's
you.
trying to get out of that kind of stuff. Listen, guys, if you have anything for us, please contact the department. We are not afraid to answer your questions and accept your ideas. We got a young staff in there, we have a new chief, we have a new deputy chief. They're always up for good ideas. That's why we got cameras. They're really good at what they do. Our town manager has been fantastic with spending money for the businesses. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming. Well, I'll try to do better next time. Did it get boring? No, it was good. I have one.